video games.
What up, dudes? Welcome back to another Yo Video Games episode. And yeah, it's been kind of an interesting day today because lo and behold, we got announcement of 3 new Valve hardware things. Just first off, right off the bat, the thing we've kind of expected, been speculating, been rumored, been waiting to hear about for years is a sort of home console version of a Steam Deck, a Steam box, if you will. And it happened. It finally happened today. They announced 3 new things. Firstly, they announced a controller, like a second go at a controller, and then announced a second go at a VR headset. I don't know how much to say about either of those. It has this little like magnetic puck that it charges on or whatever. I don't really personally care. Again, like I'm very happy with my controllers that I have. I think the one thing that we can say about the controllers is that they are using magnetic effect controllers. So they're not going to have the drift issues that Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are still plagued with. But then again, I mostly run third-party controllers, nowadays anyway, so I don't really need another third-party controller from Steam. But it's cool, whatever. And, like, there's nothing wrong with having a good controller alternative, and the weird little like thumb touch pads, whatever. That's cute, I guess. Whatever. And again, the VR headset is like VR to me is pretty much dead at this point. I guess if I want to be generous, I'll say like they're doing the best they can with the Steam Frame, which is the name of the VR headset, which is not only it's wireless, it has a wireless dongle to hook to a PC, and it has its own internal guts, and it runs SteamOS inside the frame of the VR headset itself, and it has its own storage inside that you can expand with SD cards. They're doing the best. They're kind of doing the best of Oculus, the best of like other VR headsets, which needed to connect to your home PC. So at least the Steam Frame is doing the best it can do. Like it's probably going to give you the best VR headset experience at this point when it launches. All these launch early next year, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Steam Machine, which is Valve's first real attempt. Now there were Steam boxes, Steam machines in the past that were sort of done by kind of the way 3DO was, where it was like Steam would provide it for you, but other people would have to manufacture them. And this time, Valve's kind of doing it themselves. Like this is like a concentrated effort from Valve, and we are releasing it. And it is basically a mid-range PC. It's going to be using a lot of FSR on a custom AMD chip to achieve its 4K 60 gameplay. But yes, this is Steam basically saying we are making a plug-and-play PC game machine, or really what I should call it is this is a plug-and-play PC box top. Like that's what it is, a plug-and-play. You will be paying. You'll be paying Steam a lot. A plug-and-play Steam box that is dedicated for gaming. It runs Steam OS, but it can run other operating systems. You can destroy this thing by installing Windows 11 on it if you want to. But yes, it is just a plug-and-play, plug-and-go PC machine that downloads PC games, plays PC games, and is built for gaming, but it is a PC, so you will have options and ways to tinker with it, with PC. So some people are saying like, okay, well, Valve has entered the console war. The console wars are now about to really heat up. As Microsoft dies, Valve comes in to take its place, and I'm not ready to say that yet. I'm not ready to say it yet because 2 things we don't really know. 2 very important things we don't know about the Steam Machine. We don't know the price. We don't know the price of any of these 3 objects. They did not want to give a price out. And that's all telling almost on its own, where, okay, well, are we going to be creeping north towards $1,000 for a Steam machine? But even if it was like $800 or whatever, for a decent mid-range PC, gaming PC, that's not bad. And that's frankly a lot less than you would pay right now if you went to if you went to like a PC, website that will say, hey, I'll sell you a bundled, all put together, gaming rig PC for you, you ain't getting that for under $1,000, anything like close to mid or high range PC. So this is something that's 6 times more powerful than a Steam Deck. Again, it's probably like mid range, like PC specs now. I mean, but the most important thing here is that generally speaking, this Steam machine is going to play almost anything on the Steam marketplace, just about anything, and is probably definitely going to be able to handle and run many games coming out in the future. So you could really look at this and be like, okay, if you want to talk about exclusives, because there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of indie games in particular that are PC exclusive because they don't have the means to get approval to release on Nintendo, so Sony and Xbox. So the PC Steam library, which people have been building for decades at this point, you now have a dedicated console or console-like experience. You can just buy it, plug it in, and you now have access to your entire Steam library. And this is what I said Microsoft should have been doing, is they should have bit the bullet and just made their next-gen Xbox compatible with Steam. I thought that, to me, that was like the only way forward. And it might still be a way forward for them, but they've kind of seemingly given up on that idea. So, because Steam is basically going and just doing it themselves now. Now, one thing I will have to say, the other thing too is because we don't know price and we don't know how Steam is intending to distribute this. This is really key and crucial. If you can't walk into a Target, if you can't go on Amazon and just click buy and find a Steam machine and purchase it easily, it'll never really be a console war competitor. And I imagine Valve is probably going to tell you or anyone that we're not competing in console space. We're just giving consumers a new option to play their Steam library. That's the PR line they're going to give you. And in Valve's mind, they may not care. It may be sold direct from Valve. Maybe they'll make a deal with Best Buy, like Steam Deck, I think, had like one major retail outlet. But yeah, you need to be able to walk into a Best Buy, a Target, a Walmart, go on Amazon, and just buy a Steam machine as easily and see it, as easily as a Switch or a PlayStation. If this was truly a console competitor, if this was truly meant to disrupt the console marketplace. And it might still do it without it, but yeah, we don't know the price and we don't know the distribution method. And that's where I'm not ready to sit here and say Valve is entering the console war. I can't say that yet because, again, we don't know how competitive this thing is price-wise. We don't know how easily they want to get this in people's hands. Because, again, the casual audience is so important. No matter how much you fight it, casual gamers are kind of the lifeblood of any video game ecosystem. So yeah, I'm not ready to say things are about to heat up in the console sector. What I will say though is this is a great idea. It's like regardless of how how much it costs, how it's distributed, assuming it's sub $1,000, assuming it's below $1,000. I think this is kind of a great idea. The closer they can get this to $500, even better, which is in one sense insane that we have to think about things in that way, but welcome to the world we live in now. But I mean, if they can get this to around 500 or close to it, this would be fantastic. This would be phenomenal because there's plenty of people who love playing video games, love having a big Steam library, but really hate having to deal with all the constant troubleshooting that comes with PC. And one of the advantages of this thing, which will lead to some slight asterisks I'll get to, is that this is running SteamOS. This is a Linux-based operating system, which means you don't get the critical enshittification of Windows OSs. So that's a huge plus. It's a huge plus to not be on Windows and not be, in proprietary, bullshit land of Macintosh, but a nice, curated, Valve-created Steam OS on a Linux-based operating system. That's a plus. What is potentially not a plus is that there are certain very large games that may not run on the Steam machine. I don't know. I haven't heard one way or the other, but Fortnite, League of Legends, 2XKO, certain other games like that may not be compatible. Arc Raiders may not even be. And why is that? Because Steam OS, being a Linux-based operating system, means that the anti-cheat devices, or DRM, if you will, that games like Fortnite and League of Legends and other games like Arc Raiders use, may not be compatible with the Steam machine. Now, Arc Raiders is on Steam, so maybe they found a way or whatever. But Fortnite is not on Steam, and to my knowledge, so you can't just jump into a Steam Deck and just play Fortnite off Steam OS. You have to like boot another OS to get in there. And the other games that use or use kernel level anti-cheat systems, because they don't operate. It's a different operating system because it's not Windows. Their anti-cheat system doesn't work. Therefore, the game doesn't load. So now that's not saying the Steam machine can't play those games at all. It's saying that you will have to, sign your soul over to Satan himself, aka Windows, and install Windows 11 on your Steam machine and deal with all the bloated bullshit that comes with that, festering, a cow anal wart that is Windows 11. So yes, there is a weird little thing where it's like, okay, you're going to get a Steam machine, and someone's like, I can't wait to have this plug-and-play device. I can't wait to grab Fortnite and maybe some other League of Legends and other stuff and just start playing. And like, oh, wait, it doesn't natively, I can't just run out and I can't download this onto my Steam machine. Well, no, you can't, not initially, but yeah, install that Windows 11 there and have fun. But at least it offers that, because that's the one thing that Steam machine, again, this is sort of a plus, where it's because it is an open, it is a PC. They are very upfront about this is a PC. This is not a console. This is not a closed walled garden. This is a PC. It's a PC and it runs a Linux OS, but you can put any other OS you want on it. So if you want to fuck it over, go right ahead. You can do that. So this isn't like, say, a console where you get even an Xbox or a PlayStation 5, and it's like you're left with what you got. Although I don't know if anyone remembers that there was a time, I think it was PS3 or was it PS4, where you actually could run Linux on the thing, and they actually allowed you to do it up to a certain point, and good times. But anyways, I think this is a very cool device, but it's hard for me to make any sort of hot take definitive statement when they didn't give us a price, they didn't give us a distribution message, and then they only really kind of gave us a vague window of early 26. But very exciting nonetheless. I think there's all someone we know in our life who we wish was a little more tech savvy, or a little more PC savvy, tech savvy, when it comes to playing games on PC or playing online titles. And this is going to be that machine for that person, where it's like, hey, I know you don't like working with PCs. Here's a Steam machine. Just plug it in and then log into your Steam account and get, have fun, have access to your whole Steam library, and we'll play there. See you there, play there. But here's the other thing too. This is free, technically, online gaming, because Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they all charge you to pay online unless it's certain free-to-play titles. You still all have to subscribe to their monthly subscription-based services to play games online. And that's another thing Steam Machine won't have. You buy a Steam Machine, you have however many years back of your backlog of the Steam library at your fingertips immediately, plug and play, and you can play online without spending any extra money. You do not have to subscribe to anything to play games online. So, in a sense, this is one of the best gaming values, will be almost immediately on the market, because you're going to have first-party Microsoft games, first-party Sony games, all the exclusive PC games, all of the fucking indies, all of them. The only thing you won't have is Nintendo games, because Nintendo, again, they would rather perform, a crime against humanity publicly on a Nintendo Direct than allow their games to be put on PC. So yeah, like you pretty much have access to the entirety of video games minus Nintendo exclusives with this Steam machine when it launches, and you get it with free online gameplay and a backlog catalog that goes decades deep. So in that sense, this is hard to deny that this will probably be the greatest value set-top box plug-and-play device when it releases. But again, we don't know that price, and we don't know how you're going to get a hold of it. If it's going to be some weird, like, wait in line in the queue at the Valve store, hope for an email, something like that. So, yeah, we'll just wait. We'll have to wait and see on that a bit. But that being said, the opportunity's there, and there's a path forward for Valve to absolutely disrupt the gaming narrative, disrupt the industry, shake it down a bit by having such an open, easy, and hopefully affordable in some way machine that's just plug and play and really puts into perspective what does all these different console manufacturers, what are you really offering here? Because this thing is tiny, it's compact, it's quiet according to them, it's going to have free online, and it's going to play more games than any other console has, period. So things might actually heat up. It all really depends on how hard Valve wants to go on the price and the accessibility to getting a hold of one. And again, as far as the controller and VR headset go, yeah, they'll be forgotten about within 9 months. But anyways, those are my initial thoughts on the Steam machine. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the channel. Later, dudes.